Howdy doody.
My headphones down? No.
Hello? Kiki, you there?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay.
I have chicken grease in my glasses. That's not good.
You what?
I have chicken grease on my glasses.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I have, pinto bean juice from Chipotle on mine from eating too fast. Don't ask.
Oh, you sound lovely.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm not, sick. I'm just still, my guts hurt. I think I went a little too hardcore on the pizza last night, and it just is, kicking my insides out, I guess. So, yeah, today sucked.
Poor Bones. Tell us about today.
Well, I woke up at 6 a.m. with one of the worst stomach aches I've had in a while, and proceeded to spend the entire morning basically shitting my insides out. And sometime around about 11 o'clock, I finally got so sick of it that I took some Pepto-Bismol, which actually slowed it down the first time, and I took the second dose an hour later at noon, stopped it, and I proceeded to basically sleep until 3 or 4 o'clock when, excuse me, when my buddy woke me up and was like, "Want to do something?" And I'm like, no, I do not.
This says when my alarm got turned off. Who the fuck turned my alarm off?
Who knows?
Well, I woke up to, the hubby not even being here, with no note or anything.
Wow.
I got him on the phone, so it's fine.
Oh, that's good.
He's not dead.
Hooray! Not dead.
Yay!
So what's Grieve up to?
She accidentally double-booked and totally forgot about a birthday party.
Ah. Well, fair enough. I was just curious what caused her to be away tonight.
Mm-hmm. I pretty much told her to stop being sad and just go to the fucking party.
Oh, exactly.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
It's like, we do this every week. There'll be another week to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Salutations and welcome to episode 34 of the Super Happy Gather Trusty Party with Kiki and Bones. Viva la revolution.
I will say one thing for the last couple days. Gunslinger Girl is really, and I reiterate, really fucking depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a hard time watching depressing shit. I'm only 5 episodes in. It sucks. I'm trying to build up the energy to watch more of it.
Maybe you should watch, Saber Marionette in between or something.
That's what I've been doing. I watched a couple... Yesterday I watched 3 or 4 episodes of Gunslinger Girl, and then I'd watch 2 episodes of Marionette, which is really badly dubbed. Oh my god. They changed all the voices for the OVAs.
Oh.
Or whatever. And it is hilarious. Everybody's got a different voice.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Indeed.
I mean, things are dubbed not normally in a row sometimes. So it's bound to happen, and especially if it gets picked up by different companies, but is it really that bad?
Yes, it's terrible. I mean, it's watchable. I mean, it's Like, oh my god, they couldn't even get the same people. Have you ever... excuse me, damn, I got like a frog in my throat. Did you ever watch Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex?
Yeah.
Alright, you remember how well dubbed that was, right? Like, that was
beautiful.
Yeah. Alright, you know how, like, a year or so later they came out with the Laughing Man file and the individual 11 file, like, OVAs, where they basically condensed, 26 episode seasons into one 90-minute movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, they, for lack of a better word, they got, like, D-level talent to dub those with. They did not get the same people that they got for the TV show. It's absolutely hilarious, honestly.
That is terrible.
I have nothing else to say other than I find that absolutely hilarious when they can't get the same people together, or at least some of the people. I mean, I understand that occasionally, like, voice actors will change because somebody retires or dies or just is not available.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when they can't get anybody, they just, like, every time they do a new season or whatever, they redub it with all new people. It's just like, really? That's so inconsistent. I don't know. Bitch, moan.
Well, that's a good complaint. The dubbing world already has so many bad things going against it. Why continue to do stupid shit? I'm sure from their point of view there was a reason, but from ours it seems dumb.
They don't want to pay lots of money for good dub actors, so they hire, like, people off the street.
Mm-hmm. You there! Do you speak English?
Pretty much.
According to the financial aid schedule, I was supposed to get money today. I have still not gotten any money.
Good God.
Well, look at that. My squirrel world just does not work anymore. That's great.
What now? Scroll wheel, yeah.
So earlier I read about one of the writers of Dragon Age 3, which is a game series I don't care about, but that's not the point, leaving BioWare because of death threats, but apparently there's been a retraction. It's not solely because of death threats. She apparently wants to work on a book.
Okay.
But still, who looks at a video game and goes, that person, I'll send them death threats. That'll make everything better.
I mean, I remember thinking that Dragon Age was a really stupid game because it touted this whole, you make the choices, you decide your own destiny, and my immediate thought of the Grey Wardens was they were a bunch of evil motherfuckers, and yeah, that turned me right the fuck off. Because they were all like, you decide your own destiny, and they never gave you the option when you were, like, being initiated to be like, you know what? You're a cocksucker and I'm not joining you. They're like, you could say that. They gave you the option to say that, but as soon as you said that, they're all just like, one of us. And then they, like, forced you to become one. And I'm like, well, what the fuck was the point of that? Why even give me the option to say no if I'm not gonna actually be able to say no? I hate that when they're like, you have free choice.
Yeah.
No, I have the illusion of free choice.
Games with choice are always going to be within the confines of the choices they've bothered to figure out you might make. But, yeah, that's a pretty silly choice. I don't remember not trying. I never finished the first one. I'm not even sure if it was like a quarter or halfway through, and just sat there going, this is bloody boring. Which is sad, because I normally would have loved a game like that. I loved the shit out of, like, Neverwinter and such similar games. But Dragon Age is just, every cliche you could think of was there, and then the story was, like you were saying, not very actually choice-filled. It felt more linear than it should have.
Yeah.
I also couldn't give much of a shit about what was going on. It's like, really? That's an issue? I don't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I don't hate the game enough to send death threats to someone's children.
No.
That's not cool, guys. Even the worst game in the world, the people who worked on it do not deserve that.
It's just a video game. Get over it.
It's like telling someone you're gonna rape them in the face. It's not quite that funny. Especially if they don't know you. They don't know if you're joking or not.
rape. It's how you say hello in Japan.
Did you end up buying that thing or not?
No, I'm gonna probably buy it tomorrow.
I wish there was like a box set you can get. That's really sucky.
What now?
I said I wish there was like a box set or something you could get, but...
Well, it was so... I mean, what I'm looking to buy is the ADV uncut release. There's no dub for it, but it's as it was intended to be viewed, which sounds like something silly to say about a magical girl anime, but like it was so badly butchered in English.
Yeah, I think especially the first season, there are just plain ass dropped episodes, and then certain. I'm not positive, but I think like 2 episodes were spliced together.
That sounds right. I'm really surprised that they've never relicensed it in this country. Like, I know as soon as I put the money down on this, like, I'm telling you, like, I'll buy this, and like Monday morning, Funimation will make the announcement that they've licensed it. And that sometime in 2014, you'll be able to get, card captures, or sorry, not card capture, actually, that'd be awesome, too, if they did Card Captor Sakura. I would rebuy it if I can get it on Blu-ray. What would actually cause me to put my money down right now is if they came out and were like, we're relicensing this shit, and we're giving it a new English dub. You just see the money just shoot right out of my hands. Even if I had to pay like $100 a season, I would still do it just because it'd be amazing to see somebody actually sit down and, make a attempt at something. And I get it, it was the early 90s were like the last years where they basically they were the beginning of the end of the whole, cartoons are for kids, so let's make this kid friendly.
Mm-hmm. The American notion of cartoons is still not all that great.
Yeah. But I mean, we're getting stuff like Regular Show and Adventure Time, so it's we're getting better. Even
adult cartoons tend to just be comedies.
Well, yeah, they're all some variation of The Simpsons,
with few exceptions. But yeah, pretty much. And most of our animated films are family films. So.
Other than stuff on like, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, what network TV cartoon for adults is not some variation of The Simpsons?
I cannot think of any. Not that they aren't great. I love Family Guy and American Dad and.
All I'm saying is that they found a formula that works, and so everybody just uses that formula.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's either that or it's batshit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like, Aqua Team Hunger Force, Super Jail, Death, was that Death Clock? What is that called? Metalocalypse. What else? I mean, I'm basically going off of the stuff that Adult Swim got, because that's how they did it.
Well, I obviously can't think of any other channel that actively plays animated series intended for a more mature audience.
Comedy Central has, they had, I should say, it's almost done, as Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously similar to Simpsons, because that's, Matt Groening. It's not the same, but it's a similar idea.
A collection of people who do things.
Yeah. Actually, it's really funny. Futurama really ended up being like a smarter show. It's aimed at smart people. I know that sounds crazy, but like, they write a lot of shit that is actually, like, they make fun of like scientific discoveries on the show. Like, the fourth movie, the Into the Wild Green Yonder, they start talking about evolution at one point, and they're making jokes about survival of the fittest. And this is shit that normal people are not going to find funny. But it's hilarious if you've had any amount of evolutionary biology when the guy shows a little clip show. It's like a bad, like, 1950s, red pavement type film. It's like they're trying to display what evolution is in a quick form. They show the two competing animals going back and forth in their evolutionary, arms race.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to normal people. I'm sorry.
I think they realized, especially when they were coming back from cancellation, what sort of audience they had and the things they could get away with. And especially in this age, even if you don't get it, you could also vaguely look it up if you cared enough.
Yeah. I don't think most people really care.
But even though they're technically all comedy shows, like good comedy, they're very good at pulling at the heartstrings.
Futurama has gotten a reputation for being deep, I think is the word I want.
Yeah.
I mean, you have stuff like Jurassic Bark, Luck of the Fryish, oh God, what's the other one?
A recent episode went into how Fry felt about his mom.
That was yesterday's episode. I just watched that tonight before I talked to you.
That was very sweet.
That was this season's. I think that was this season's episode, because what they've been doing now is one episode a season. They have what you would call a deep episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sure the writing and stuff went, this is a guy 1,000 years in his own future. His entire family is dead, and his life from then doesn't exist anymore.
When you consider him being frozen was the best thing that ever happened to him. He's got more friends now than he ever did in the present day.
But at the same time, he still has stuff to miss. So it's make your audience cry gold.
What I love most about that is the episodes that do that, you have no idea it's coming.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't start off, some of their funniest episodes can sometimes have...
Dude, Luck of the Fryish.
That make you feel sad at the start. But yeah, Luck of the Fryish is what little we know about his brother, and then here's this turnaround of he missed him so deeply.
It literally, he spends the entire episode thinking his brother stole his name. Mm-hmm. And at the very end, when they're cleaning off the gravestone, he's told, hey, look at this. And the inscription on the gravestone says, Philip J. Fry, named for his uncle to carry on his spirit. And then he realizes that, no, it wasn't Yancey. It was Yancey's son. And there's just this moment of the show, like, flashing back to everything that had happened and seeing his brother talking to his wife going, I know what I want to call him. She goes, it's okay, Yancey. You can say it. And you see his brother look at his son and say, you shall be called Philip. I love you, Philip, and I always have. And a tear rolls down his eye, and you're just like, you realize as much as his brother beat up on him and harassed him, and they had this, who's better arms race going on, he loved his brother, and he was, it still hurt when his brother was gone. And you see the same thing. Like, they pawned off... It starts... When they start describing his family life, they pawn it off as his family that just didn't give a fuck. And then, as the seasons go on, they start saying, no, you know what? He's from a dysfunctional family, but they all loved each other in their own unique way. You find his mother seemed... they talk about how his mother never had any interest in him. And then the end of this episode, the Niblonians... Nibbler puts him inside of his mother's dream the night after he was frozen, and he tells her all this stuff, and he hugs her and he says, I'm 1,000 years in the future, and I miss you terribly. And then it cuts to her, like, sleeping restlessly, and she rolls over, opens her eyes, and right on the nightstand is a picture of him, and she falls back asleep smiling, and it's just like this... It pulled at my heartstrings. Warmed the cockles of my heart. Questions. Quit asking and you won't be confused.
Yeah. Reasoning and confusion go hand in hand somehow.
It's like when you try to explain to somebody the idea that... I believe it's the Yahweh form of the Abrahamic God is actually one of a whole pantheon that existed in the, proto-form of Judaism. Mm-hmm. And good fundamental Christians, practicing people, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And this isn't like a maybe. This is like our historical excavations of, civilizations at that time in northern Africa and through the eastern part of the Mediterranean, we find that there were tribes and tribes and tribes of people, and that there's talk of Yahweh, the god of war, killing his brothers and sisters, which basically in the real world linked to that tribe gaining power and wiping out the other ones. The idea that the monotheistic God always comes from a pantheon. It's just a matter of how. Stop asking questions, should just be confused. I don't know. It's just, I'm still mulling over if I'm gonna drop the hammer. I probably will end up doing it because that's actually probably the lowest price I've seen in a while.
How much was it?
It ended up being $160 when I checked again, but that's still good.
Anime is expensive.
Well, that's expensive because it's been out of print for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's one of those things. It's not like it's going anywhere, so I have all the time in the world to, collect it. But that's a really good price on the first season, which is really kind of what I want to start with, get a feel for it, and then see how badly I need to get the rest that's available. Plus, I can't wait to see your face the day it actually shows up, and I leave a picture on the chat room of it.
I'll be so happy for you.
Yes, because I'll send you copies. No, I would never do that. That's illegal. I've already told all my friends that I'm like, I understand it's, theoretically, I would allegedly offer them copies of anything that's so badly out of print that it cannot be easily, obtained in any legal form. Yes, viewers out there, I'm not endorsing piracy. I'm just stating that sometimes we have a hard time saying no to it when stuff can't easily be obtained.
Well, even when there's no license whatsoever for it to be over here.
That's the whole thing. I think even if, like I wouldn't even be so gung-ho if, it was on, I don't know, Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm. There are plenty of legal ways to watch anime these days. Streaming services, television, buying it. But there are quite a few animes that just don't exist on those horizons.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least at the start don't. So I'm looking up conversation topics in case we run out of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
And one of them is, what's the solution to terrorism? It's just so fucking easy, nobody's thought of it yet. I realize it could create a quite broad discussion, but...
How do you stop terrorists? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's... A lot of the time you're working against people who... You can't just change their mind.
Can you even bring a terrorist group to the negotiating table to talk? It's...
Yeah, that's one of the problems with terrorist group. You can't just call them up and go, can we,
we need to work this out.
Talk this over or something. I'm not saying that there hasn't been the occasional time where someone's gotten through to someone, but if it was that fucking easy, we would have done it years ago.
Exactly. I just don't know. I don't know how you actually combat terrorism.
It is not something that just happens. Obviously, a lot of the ways we're combating terrorism right now aren't working either.
Well, that's because we're treating it like any other enemy force. It's not a nation state. You can't just beat it into submission.
A lot of people don't realize that when we use certain terms, we're not actually talking about a physical country or something.
No, they're a bunch of splinter groups.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the problems. They might, technically be under a similar flag, but they're not all following the same person, and just because you get one of them doesn't mean there's not someone to fill that role. That's kind of one of the problems with, mobs and whatnot. Unless you get all of them in one go, you're not really solving a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's It's like, you caught me talking about the guy I had in the meeting yesterday at work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck do I say to that? Like, I get that I have to be polite, but at the same time, I don't want to fucking work with people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I find that reprehensible. I don't give a fuck if you're a racist. Just don't make it fucking obvious.
Don't wear it on your person.
I mean, truly, he's probably a better human being because he's at least being honest about the fact that he's a racist. But it's still just like, I don't want to see that. My company, employs people of all walks of life, and we don't make judgment calls about people's, color, creed, or sexual orientation. It's the simplest way to catch a lot of that, a lot of different groups. It takes all kinds. It's like, and it was one of those things where I'm sitting there, I wanted to look in the eye. I can't say anything. I just have to be polite. I excuse myself. I call my superiors, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this. You have to find somebody else to work through these business meetings. I'm not going to be a part of this. I have to take a stand. I'm not going to be a part of this. And surprisingly, my bosses weren't ungodly upset, which surprised me a little bit. Our sales guy is going to do his negotiations because, my company likes money. As long as he doesn't say anything too offensive, they won't say no to business. But it's like, I wanted to ask the guy, it's like, how do you be in a group like this and do business with a company that makes no qualms about, color, creed, sexual orientation, physical ability? Do you get what I'm getting at? It feels kind of critical. It's like, you represent a group that discriminates, but you're doing business with a company that does not. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Sometimes people just don't click in that area that there might be conflict, or are just so used to it they stop caring. I have certainly gotten into plenty of heated arguments with people who automatically assumed everybody thought just like them.
Isn't that kind of arrogant?
Yes, but I would say that a lot of people suffer from that because they haven't been shown otherwise.
Gotcha. I mean, I guess the way I perceive business protocol, he thought nothing of the shirt. I thought it was extremely offensive.
Maybe you assumed because it was a business meeting it wouldn't matter, or he was just trying to see who he could start a shit fit with.
Yeah, I have no idea. None whatsoever. I mean, there's very few things that I feel are in bad taste. That's one of them.
This is the end of part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. You are now listening to part 2.
Wait, what?
Who's bugging your phone?
I just got an email for something. I gotta double check something here. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
Okay. I just assumed I wasn't gonna get the job.
Wait, what?
Let me check it or something. I think I might still be in the running for a job I applied for God knows how long ago. That beeping was an email coming in, and I was confused. I'm just gonna double check. Application was received. Okay. So I don't think this. I apologize profusely. I just wanted to get this updated quick before I forget. I'm certified. Okay. Huh. I assume this means that I'm not in the running, but I will. So they haven't filled the position, but I don't think I'm in the running.
Okay.
I assume this means that I'm assuming the fact that they're sending me this means that the position is still open, but they must be waiting for somebody with better credentials than mine, but they can't fill the position, but they won't even consider people. Like, it's a biological technician position, basically taking care of samples and whatnot at a research facility here in the cities. And I meet, like, the bare requirements for it, but I don't have a lot of experience with dealing with, like, biological samples. I did mostly environmental samples, but, like, it's dealing with pollution and whatnot, so it's, up my whatever you want to call it, alley. And so I applied for it and thought nothing of it, and then they sent me an email saying, well, the position's still open. If you're still interested, go through this to recertify that you're still interested. And I'm like, okay. I just assume I'm not even in the running, but for whatever reason, they're like, if you're still interested, then let us know. It's like, I'm still interested. I like a job.
In my field? Yes, please.
And the facility is, like, literally, like, 20 minutes from my house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's right up the road. I'm always confused, like, I applied for this at the beginning of June, so I'm shocked that it's still open, A. B, that I was sent an email saying that if I'm still interested to reapply, so I did. But, I would assume if they didn't find anybody, they would, I guess they're not, getting nothing means that I'm not even in the running, but I'm thinking, like, if you can't find somebody, you could always interview people and keep them in mind kind of thing, but I don't know.
I feel like this selection of questions was made by a right-winger.
Yeah?
Well, it's things like, does youth music negatively influence teenagers? Does welfare help or hurt families? Hurt in big bold letters. Then it talks about religious minorities being a threat to security.
Great. Sounds like you got a winner.
What should be the purpose of public schools? To educate, I would assume.
That seems like the logical answer to me.
As it's a school.
I mean, I'm just a simple fisherman, but it seems to me that a school's job is to educate.
Yes. Doing more than it's doing right now, surely, but education would be the purpose of a school, so. And on that note, the question of how can we decrease youth violence? Education.
Yes.
Education, better social services, basic human fucking rights such as healthcare, not creating an environment where going to violence and crime is a viable option.
How very liberal of you.
Well, I am a registered independent, so.
How the hell you actually registered with the Independent Party?
Am I registered with the Independent Party, or am I non-party?
Being a registered anything means that you vote in the primaries. Like, I'm actually a registered Democrat, but that's because I vote in primary elections.
Well, California here, it no longer apparently matters what your party group is.
Oh, yeah?
Because we passed that law, so it actually doesn't matter what you're registered as anymore. But yes, no, it's been a while since I filled out the form, but yeah, I registered as an independent. I'm pretty much a Democrat, though. I just didn't want to get annoying phone calls.
Yeah.
I still do, and I have occasionally thrown away my vote for non-two majority party member things, so.
I mean, I always figured that it was, it was really, the lesser of two evils, but after all the crap that's gone down with the whole surveillance state shit, it's just like, wow, okay, so it doesn't even matter at all.
With the way the political parties currently work, it doesn't terribly matter except for like a few key figures. I still tend to side with Democrats, but I don't want to say, yeah, I'm a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly not a Republican, though.
Well, I mean, I understand being like fiscally conservative and all that nonsense, but I mean, I'm a big believer in if you put money into society, you'll make it back, kind of thing.
We can't change things unless we spend fucking money to do it. It doesn't fall from the damn sky.
Yeah.
And you have to. The problem is, yes, you have to think about where your money is going, but often the things we really need are what's being cut. So.
Yeah.
Yes, we need Homeland Security and we need an army because there's shit out there to fight. But if we're not bettering our people, what's the point?
Well, it's like I'm a big believer in the whole if we dump a lot of money into infrastructure, it can't hurt us, it can only help us.
Mm-hmm. Now, when most of our bridges are in terrible condition, that's just an accident waiting to happen, and then you're going to have to pay more for it later, and people aren't going to be able to go anywhere, and that's less money going places.
Yeah.
I remember I heard it offhandedly while walking around campus, but someone was bitching about they're building a new courthouse because the current one is tiny as shit, and this is not a tiny town anymore, and it's closer to where the new police station is. And they're complaining about the money being spent, but this has been on the budget for like the past 10 years.
Yeah.
It's just only recently gotten to the point where it can be constructed. So this isn't like they just thought, oh, hey, let's build this. No, it was technically already paid for. And, well, our old courthouse is a historic building, so there's only so many things you're allowed to do to it.
Yeah.
And they're still going to keep it open and use it as an office building, so it's not like it's not being used. Or how dare we spend money on road construction?
It actually has long-term positive effects for the economy when you spend money on roads and bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Because each project is technically only a short-term thing. It's not permanent. However, there are so many roads and road structures and roads in need of improvement, repair, and remodel that you could spend trillions of dollars and it would still take us 10, 15 years worth of constant work to complete all of the projects.
Well, that's what happens when you let things like that slip.
And all of the work would be good for the economy because it would put a lot of, there'd be a lot of people in construction who have been out of work back in work for, up to a decade.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, okay, theoretically it's impossible because the amount of money you would have to spend is just unbelievable to do that, to make the push to say I'm going to fix everything. But it's not like we have anything better to spend it on.
And we certainly need roads and bridges and things like that.
I mean, it's not even just like improvement in the sense of stuff that's broken down, but also like fixing, like replacing bridges that no longer meet their flow parameters. It's like the bridge in my town, which was built in 1930, and was only meant to take like 1,000 cars a day, and it has like 100,000 going over it. It's like, yeah, we are. I mean, and to be fair, we are finally getting a bridge, but it's like, it's crazy that it took this long for them to finally come to an agreement and get it built. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know how to fix the country's problems.
It's not. I mean, we can say it's do this, and do this, but getting people to do those things is really the difficult part. Because, A, we're really in the whole money rise still, as a country, but a lot of people still have the mentality of, well, I'm fine, fuck the rest of you. And they don't realize that what happens to us also affects them. Especially the people who go, well, I don't have kids, why should I pay for schools? Because the next generation is what's going to take care of us.
Because it's a service to all children, not just your non-existent children.
Mm-hmm.
Why should anybody pay for roads they're not going to use? Because it's a service to everyone, not just the people who use the roads.
And you never know. You might end up someday having to use that road. Wouldn't you like it to not suck?
I'm just trying to make the that's sort of like the I can't think of the word for the debate argument, but it's like, well, I won't use it, so why should I pay for it? Because it's a public service.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we pay taxes for things like the fire department if we never need them? Because someday you might. You don't know. And for the other people who do need it, it's important to have the service.
Because lots of houses are close together. Just because it didn't start in your neighborhood doesn't mean it can't end up there.
Well, it's as simple as somebody saying, well, why should I keep paying for health insurance if I'm never sick? Because you might need it someday.
Mm.
You never know in what way, paying for education might be helpful to you later. I mean, I think people go, well, I don't have any kids. Well, do you do anything at, like, the community center? Do you take any continuing education? Do you do any, like, updates? Are you a professional? Are you a teacher or a doctor where you have to keep your license current? That money goes towards all of that stuff. It's not just school kids.
Mm-hmm. We're a connected society, and we need to fucking get our heads out of our ass and realize that.
It's one of those things. There's also research that argues in some ways that having good education, interesting education, not only helps reduce criminal behavioral problems in children and adolescents, but also is good in the sense that it allows, if you invest a lot of money in education, i.e. infrastructure, social infrastructure instead of physical infrastructure, you're giving the children of your citizens a better shot at being successful taxpayers themselves in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, nobody wants to pay taxes. That's a legitimate thing. But at the same time, I mean, you can. It's nice to know that your money goes towards something effective.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of appreciate my county because they're legit about it. They're like, okay, 20% of your property tax is going towards, roads and infrastructure, and 20% is going to schools or education, and another 20% is going to emergency services, or I don't know what it is, but you get what I'm saying. And it's right on your property tax form when you get the slip for what you owe. It says this is what your money's going to be used for.
There's a California tax that's often talked about in a lot of the oh my god, all the words in the world just left my head. Sociology classes.
Yeah.
And I forget exactly what the problem with it is because I have only ever heard it secondhandly. But essentially, back in the day, we made it so that certain financial brackets could only be taxed X amount of money. And we made it so that it didn't matter if it was a poor county or a rich county, only so much can go into school. And at the time, it made perfect sense. But now it actually fucks poor districts. Because, obviously, their school is getting the same amount of tax money as the rich school, but they don't have the money to put in private funds, like richer areas do.
Okay.
So
because they left out a clause about moving money from...
Yeah.
Like, the obvious thing is to have money moved from richer districts to balance out poorer districts kind of thing, right?
So, yes, they've essentially been screwed by that because the richer districts, even though they're being taxed the same, clearly their schools should be the same. They can still donate private funds, and they do.
Yeah.
Where in the poorer districts, they can't. They don't have the money for it. And it's not like, oh, then move. You can't just fucking pick up and move these days.
Yeah.
They can't afford to live in the rich district.
And that's why we have waivers.
Or, it's not just the districts here, it's just something you can see in, like, neighborhoods in a town. It's like, that other public school looks nicer than the one in the, area where more of the poor people live because they may be getting the same taxes, but they're not getting the same money.
Gotcha.
That and when schools aren't doing well, instead of looking at why they aren't doing well, we just take away their funding.
Exactly. It's the American way.
Which makes people focus on testing, which means we're not teaching our kids about critical thinking or proper note-taking. We're just making sure they can parrot back specific things.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of kids who go to college don't know how to make a fucking thesis statement because they've never had to.
A what statement?
A thesis statement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, write an essay that isn't essentially just a summary of what you've read.
Yeah.
Most of them don't really understand how essays work either.
I thought it was just putting your thoughts to paper.
It is, but I mean, like, formatting, like, what a proper paragraph actually looks like.
It's a small piece of a larger idea. It supports the main idea that you enter at the beginning in your introductory statement.
They haven't had to have a main idea. They're just summarizing something they've already read.
They just barf it back up onto the paper.
Yeah, and all the teacher has to check for is whether or not it matches what they were supposed to have read, so that they could do it again on a test.
Crazy.
And, you know, we're taking away things like critical thinking and all those other good things that makes, you know, higher fun. There's also the whole, you know, you bitch about a math class because, oh, I'm never going to use this. Well, you might not use the specific math, but you're learning, A, is a good thing,
reality.
And B, you're learning how to think about a problem.
90% of the American population is never going to use anything more than basic arithmetic.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to need long division, like out of arithmetic. You're never going to need long division. You're never going to need fractional operations. All you're going to need is basic adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Which you will probably never do by hand again as an adult because we all have fucking calculators.
Mm-hmm.
It's either on your phone, or you have one nearby, or you have a computer. It's, you know, you're not going to do anything by hand anymore. And out of the last 10% that's going to keep going, the people who actually get to the stuff, the abstract, fucking, you know, calculus, you know, multivariable differential calculus, are like 1% of the fucking population. They're the people who are engineers and scientists. And for the most part, like, I've used it twice since I've learned it. And for the same basic problem, which was describing the flow of something through a system. That was just to prove that the same equation used by the computer was correct. That I could show on paper that what the numbers that the computer was spitting out equaled the numbers given if I had the same variables and ran it, you know, and then did the math by hand and had it checked over.
Pardon?
No, you're not pardoned.
That's true.
I find the whole idea behind our education system somewhat hilarious, because what it should be about is problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, trying to conceive of what you're looking at and understand the system kind of thing. Instead, it's can you tell me, you know, what did X author mean about Y story? And it's never like, well, this is what I got out of it. It's, you know, it's like, oh, it was an allegory for, you know, communism in a post-World War II society. I'm just throwing something random out there. I've never actually read a story like that. You ever have an art teacher that's like, you know, what was this person trying to get at? And it's like, that flowers are beautiful. no, the powers of feminism.
Yeah.
It's a painting of a flower.
I've had teachers like that where they pose a question that's really more of it's going to be a different answer for everyone, but they get pissed off when it's not their answer. I've had teachers like that.
And that's what drives me crazy. It's like,
they're not asking for a discussion. They just want to go, yeah, I'm better. This is how I see it. And while the original writer, artist, or whatever may have intended this, there's also what the viewer infers.
Yeah.
That's the wonder of things like literature and art. There is what the person who made it intended, which may come across beautifully, and then there's also what you gather for yourself based on who you are or what you see in it.
Crazy. Just crazy.
And then there are the collection of flowers that are actually intended to be vaginas.
I always felt like the ones where they're actually symbolizing that were really obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I've had shit like that pulled on me on, like, Georgia O'Keeffe paintings, and I'm like, really? It's just a painting of a flower. Chill out. Oh, excuse me.
But I suppose if we don't keep people stupid, how will we abuse our supposed greater intelligence on them?
Exactly.
Make them do what we want. How dare they have free thought?
All about control.
Are teenagers victims of age discrimination?
No.
No. Didn't like a new study come out that like your frontal cortex isn't like fully developed until you're like 25?
Sounds right.
Yeah. Wait, you're still growing. There are reasons we don't let you do certain things because you're a dumbass. And like we were just talking about, our school system doesn't really help that. So,
No.
That's why we put you in them, though. In the hopes that you will get something.
Something will rub off.
Don't make you go to this school because I hate you. I do it because I love you.
And because if I don't, I'll get in trouble with the government.
That too. It's like, you have to go at least until you're this old. And then I can sign a fucking paper, but then I'm not gonna, pay for your shit, so.
Yeah.
Because, as someone who was once a teenager, and who regularly sees teenagers, you don't have the best
Judgment.
Yeah. And the it can't happen to me mentality is very strong in a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Considering we almost hit a young woman who just wandered out into traffic with her headphones on, looking at her phone.
Always a good sign.
And it's not like she walked into the crosswalk either. She walked out in the middle of fucking traffic.
Always a joy. Always.
Like, you're gonna get straight someday. Exactly. I'm old and hate children.
Rawr.
Who was it that said they knew that there was EBT fraud because they saw a fit person using them? Who was that? Yes, it was a congressman from Oklahoma. He claimed to see food stamp fraud firsthand, because he saw what he described as a fit, healthy-looking person using an EBT card.
Always a good sign.
Yes, because only us fatties need EBT. Clearly, a fit, healthy person always has a job.
Yes, yes.
Can't merely be in between and in need of assistance. So what would Bones like to talk about?
I have nothing to say. Legitimately, it's taking all my energy just to stay awake.
You can just make this really short.
I wasn't even joking. I'm completely shot tonight.
Yeah.
I had the whole day off, and I'm just, like, being sick for most of the day just completely drained me of all my energy. I probably would have been in better shape had I not gone out and ran errands this afternoon when I started to feel good enough to actually, be away from the toilet for more than 10 minutes.
Oh.
I had the craps really bad today. I'm not even joking. Like, every 5 to 10 minutes I had to get up and go use the bathroom. And then the gas later. Oh, God. I think I just ate too much greasy pizza, and it just, like, it it wasn't like I had food poisoning or anything. I wasn't throwing up. I just had really bad gas.
Well,
And then, of course...
You were so excited about the pizza being so close to you.
Yeah, I ate too much of it too quickly. My sister just couldn't handle it.
I could easily go back to sleep.
Shut up. I really probably, when we get done, I should just go to bed since I'm going to have to go into work tomorrow to make up for all the stuff I missed today. I worked on a few things, but after I'd say 10 o'clock, I was just like, yeah, no. I can't get more than 5. All I did was answered a couple emails and checked some stuff and sent a couple, or called a couple people and said, I wasn't coming in today anyway, but I'm not even going to be. I'm just going to be doing the very basic stuff, and tomorrow I will get all the heavy duty lifting done because I'm crapping my brains out. And then when that's done, when I have that under control, I'm going to sleep it off. Because fuck this shit. Fuck it right in the ass. Here I stand.
Alright, then let's just call it here.
Fair enough.
Neither of us feel well, and this isn't going anywhere, so...
Bitch, bitch, moan, moan. Bitch, bitch, moan, moan. Hopefully next week I'll be in better shape to be talkative. The other problem is I am hot as crap right now. I have no idea why. It's only 65 degrees out. This is hot down here.
76 in the bedroom. I'm actually a little cold.
You're always cold.
Except for when I'm not.
Which is never.
I guess I'll go back to bed and snuggle up and watch more Hyper Police.
I hate you so much. It's I think it's $90 right now on Amazon.
Oh, that's not bad for an obscure anime.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just
not that you should spend all your money.
I want all the anime all the time. I was really into video games from the beginning of the summer, and now I've gone back to watching anime a lot. I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's... your attention's went elsewhere. It's easier just to sit and watch something. I don't know.
That's been the big thing. I've been working a lot. At the beginning of the summer, I was on really short hours, and now I'm with the promotion and shit. At the end of May, I've been way more busy.
Oh, that's right. I have homework.
Yes, you have homework now. Now that school started.
I don't have terribly difficult homework, but...
It's the hardest homework ever. You have to do it. Oh, God. Yeah, I really want to see Hyper Police. It looks like everyone tells me. You seem to like it. My buddies seem to like it. It's
adorable. It's, bounty hunters. Where can you go wrong with that?
Pretty hard. Hard.
And animal people.
Animal people. Diko Mimi. Kimomo Mimi, I think is that what I want. Oh, crap. I think I need to open the window. It is getting freaking hot down here. I can't tell where all this heat is coming from, because it's not, the house is only, in the mid-70s.
That was the end of part 2, commencing with part 3. You are now listening to part 3.
What?
That was a horrific noise.
I just unsealed my window. Let some cool air in here. I'm wondering if, I'm just not circulating enough air because the furnace is off. So all the heat is building up from my equipment running, Bent over and squeezed the gas right out of my stomach.
No.
What a day. Oh, God.
Okay. Either my money is going to show up at midnight, or somehow we got dicked, and it's not going to show up until next week.
Well, I hope it's midnight, not next week.
As do I. Okay.
Had enough?
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Good night, Bones.
Night, Kiki. We'll try this again next week when hopefully both of us are in better spirits.
I'm either gonna go back to sleep or pretend to do math. Math, not math.
Maths? Do some maths?
Stats.
Stats? Stats is easy.
The math that isn't math.
Oh my god. Stats you can do in your freaking sleep.
I can't. This will be my second time taking the class.
Oh my god.
To be fair, the first, half, I did awesome. It was the second half.
As soon as I learned it, we had a nice class because I learned how to do stats both on paper and with Excel. As soon as I learned how to do it with Excel, fuck the paper. You just punch all the information in, enter a string modifier, and let the freaking Excel program run all your math for you.
Dude, if I could use Minitab during tests, I would.
That was the best thing, dude. He let us, instead of calculators, he let us take it in the computer lab, so we did all our math on Excel.
Nah, he's the sort that wants us to know both how to use stat software, but how to do it without it.
Here's the thing. In the real world, you'll never do it without it. The computer makes way less errors than you will doing it by hand.
Well, apparently this is to teach us to not just take what the computer says at face value and to understand what the computer's doing so that we can better infer the results.
Yeah, nobody cares in the real world. It's a nice idea, and it's an important reason because you have to understand why you're doing the math you're doing. And that kind of goes back to the whole education versus work kind of thing. It's like, educationally, it's good to understand why the math works the way it does, like why you get the numbers you get.
Mm-hmm.
But the real world is nobody gives a shit. You're always going to do it. If you have to do stats work, if you're doing a statistical analysis on something, you're doing it in Excel or you're doing it in SMSS because the people are not, you're going to be plugging data in and letting the computer chug. And assuming what they're going to be looking at is not do you understand the math, but did you screw up the data entry somewhere? Sorry. As the guy who's completed all his educational undergrad shit, I find all the crap if they told me it was important, it's just not really important. No one cares.
This is the last math class I have to take, so...
Yeah, you fucking arts major, you sons of bitches. Some of us had to take multiple layers of calculus.
Oh, I don't want to take calculus.
Yes, you do. Everyone wants to take calculus.
No. No.
You can't become a real boy until you've taken calculus.
That's okay. I identify as a girl.
I'm pretty sure you're physically a girl, too, as much as you might deny that up and down.
Oh, no, I have a vagina. I was born with it.
I was talking to somebody once who was gender neutral. They didn't identify as either. I'm like, okay, what do you have at crotch level? She's like, well, I have a vagina. All right, biologically you're a female, but I'm not a woman. I'm like, okay, you don't mentally identify as a woman, but you are a biological human female.
You have to understand that sex and gender are not the same thing. One's a social construct and the other is biology.
Yes.
So, agendered people do exist. They don't feel like they fit into a specific gender, even though they might have the equipment. Like, I'm cisgendered, so I have a vagina. I was born with a vagina, so I consider myself a woman. You are also cisgendered because you have a penis. You were born with it, or at least I haven't heard a story where you weren't born with it. So
well, it's detachable. I take it off and I clean it a little bit and I put it back on.
Whereas other people are transgendered or agendered, and there are a couple polygendered people.
Let me put this into perspective for you, okay? I was trying to figure out what sexual pronoun to use. And when she said, I don't identify as a gender, I'm like, okay, what is your physical sex? Well, I'm a woman. Then I'm going to use the female pronouns and identifiers. to describe you. I don't give a shit what your gender identity is. I need to have some clarity about what standard gender identity pronouns are going to be closest. Not perfect, but closest.
There are a couple of good articles out there about how to
it's one thing if you're transgendered.
An agendered person, what sort of pronouns to use, but it also depends on the person. So.
Yeah. For transgender persons, I've never had any problem.
Mm-hmm.
People like Amoricize, I'm just like, what should I use? Use female pronouns. Cool. We're good. Moving on. This girl's like, well, I don't identify as any, so I prefer you don't use any at all. And it's like, okay, it's one or the other. So I'm going to go off your physical sex, and that's how I'm going to do it, since you don't identify as any gender, Pat.
There is pangender and agender?
Yeah.
Oh.
Pangender is fun.
Pangender is I am all.
I have all the things all the time. Atypical gender, or asexual, is I have none of the things. Or I don't identify as any of the things. It's like I'm asexual, but I definitely, both gender and sex, am male.
Well, frankly, these are only things that should matter when it's, something that's being discussed, not beyond that. And just like, I grew up saying bisexuality, and nowadays I'm probably more pansexuality, because I don't really care what gender you identify with, and I almost don't care about what sort of genitalia you have when it comes to my sexual attraction to you, but I'm also in a monogamous relationship, so it doesn't matter terribly.
No.
It's just when people say that because I'm in a monogamous relationship, I am now heterosexual, is when I want to deck them. I did not suddenly find men attractive.
What blows my mind is people can't conceive of things like fraternal love. It's like you can feel non-romantic love for somebody of the same sex.
Well,
or non-sexual love, I guess, is probably the better describer.
People have trouble with non-romantic love, as we've talked about before, and they also have the trouble with the idea that just because you're in love or in a let's fuck everything relationship, that you somehow can't find other things sexually attractive. And that's often put on women as part of the patriarchy, because I'm supposed to be true to my man. When, yes, I'm not going to bone that sexy lady I see on the street, but I still find her sexy, or that other guy, or whatever that person might consider themselves.
Well, I mean, in our society, if you choose to be monogamous, you really probably shouldn't be fucking other things of any type.
Because then you're not monogamous.
Yeah. Kind of like breaking the idea of being true to that one person, but at the same time, it's silly to say you're no longer going to find things attractive. Should you be falling head over heels in love with these other people, things, places, whatever? Probably not.
Because the assumption is that because I find them sexually attractive, there's something wrong with my relationship. And it's no, I still find my husband sexually attractive. I find these other things sexually attractive too, but I'm only fucking my husband.
Let's be dead honest. Pornography is a tool. It's no different than sexual toys and or equipment. It's a tool. If your man or woman is watching porn and you're not, it has nothing to do with your ability to perform. It has everything to do with them getting their jollies off so they can make it through their day. Smoke your cigarette, eat your cookie, rub one out. Whatever gets you through the day that doesn't gross the rest of humanity off is fine. You gotta have the smoke, Eat the cookie. Gotta rub one out, just go in the fucking bathroom and rub one out. I don't give a shit, just as long as we don't have to watch you do it.
The only time porn becomes an issue if there's an unhealthy association. That's true of anything, though. It's not just porn.
An unhealthy association.
Yes. Like, there's a difference between a woman finding a fireman sexually attractive compared to the woman who can only be attracted to firemen's clothing.
Oh, sexual dysfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only time you should be worried about someone's porn consumption.
Yeah,
But,
like, people who can only...
Yeah, unless you're a trained professional or it's really glaringly obvious, you probably shouldn't start an argument over it.
Yeah, like the people who can only get off through autoerotic asphyxiation.
Mm-hmm.
Or, my favorite up-and-coming one that the Japanese have just been doing a ton of is the senti-sex. I'm just like, oh my god, why?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just basically a full-body condom, but it's just, it looks so absolutely silly.
To be fair, though, as long as your sexual dysfunction isn't actively hurting someone, it's not that big of a deal. Unless it's getting in the way of you having a life, or it's actively harming your relationship. And beyond, like, I don't like the fact that you watch porn.
Yeah, see, that was always my whole thing. It's like, I've always been of the belief that if you get in a relationship with somebody and your partner doesn't approve of your... Now, I'm not talking about sexual shit anymore. I'm talking just about general hobbies.
Mm.
Like, if they don't approve of what you do for fun, then it's probably not going to be a healthy relationship that's going to stand the test of time, because, like, I wouldn't want to date a woman who thought, like, my interest in anime was disturbing. It's like, it's what I do in my spare time.
There's a difference between not sharing in all of the same things and attempting to oppress those in the other person. Like, I watch a wide variety of porn, and only a small percentage of it is something my husband would enjoy watching, and that's the stuff we watch together.
Woo woo.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
The other stuff is for when I'm alone and I need some me time, or because I'm bored. Because my porn watching is mostly because I'm bored.
Oh God! Oh God!
What?
He needs some alone time with Eduardo, the big black dong of death. Sorry. We have there's it's actually a specific brand of dildo. Eduardo is quite the name for the guy whose dong they cast for it. That motherfucker is huge. It's the basis for the purple dong bat from Saints Row 3.
Jeez.
Eduardo, the black dong of death. I just flashed to just you shoving a gigantic dong in you. Just like, sorry. Make me laugh.
That is in no way how I masturbate. I don't even own anything like that.
Would you like to?
That sounds horribly frightening. Like I might accidentally hurt myself with it. Oh.
Well, as long as you can't stick a man's fist inside of you, you're okay.
I have not tried in a while, so I don't know.
In a while?
Yeah.
Oh, God. The key point here is not tried in a while. Oh my God, I didn't think anyone outside of pornography actually tried fisting. That scares me a little bit. Although,
you gotta do.
After hearing one of my a associate from business talking to me about his boyfriend, him and his boyfriend trying anal fisting, I was just like, oh my God, no, why? No. Don't you understand that doesn't actually work in real life? He's like, well, you guys do it in the pornos. Yeah, those people have been trained to do that. It's a skill. It's not something you're supposed to be able to do normally.
I have to find it. There's a video out there talking about the difference between reality and porn. And it's mostly like, this is what actual penis size is, and this is what real vaginas look like. But it brings up a bunch of other good topics of, essentially, don't look for porn for sex tips.
Yeah.
They not only are they not doing everything in one go, but a lot of what they're doing is in no way fun. It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
It only looks nice.
Let me put it this way. Most women don't like anal despite what you hear.
Mm-hmm. I know there are a couple out there, but I don't like anal. It feels weird and really disconnecting, and then I'm very worried about,
tearing something.
Yeah, and you know what? I like the ability to control my poop.
Yes. Well, there's just something, pardon this phrase, there's something nice about the linkage of regular, standard, vaginal intercourse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously talking from the male perspective, but it's kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how to explain the awesomeness of it, but it's like, if it's not just like rooting in the mud pig sex, it's this, you get this like connection with the partner. Sorry, I'm going off. Rooting in the mud pig sex is my way of describing like, it's how pornography is filmed in this country. There's no connection between the actors. It's just,
I may be very much an advocate for porn needs to be a thing, but a lot of American porn is more about, let's see how many things we can shove in this person, and less about, any sort of romancing or basic
the Japanese have been
story.
really big on fondling and kissing and like just general like human skin to skin contact during filming, which I think has a really positive effect on how porn is portrayed. B, it's more realistic because they don't do as much of like weird like they don't try to shove a lot of stuff in. All pornography in like modern democratic societies, Japan, Europe, America, work off of the basic premise of meet, greet, oral sex by the woman, oral sex by the man, vaginal intercourse, occasionally, anal sex. It's more rare than you would believe in a lot of porno, unless it's specifically talking about it like, anal backdoor ladies 5 or some shit. And then then if it's like a fetish film for a specific like type of sex, then you'll have, deep throating or gangbangs or bukkake or some crazy shit. It always ends with a money shot. Doesn't matter if it's Japanese, Swedish, Icelandic, German, French, English, American. That's the general flow. And the Japanese have been getting in this whole thing where they're doing some of the foreplay, but it's not as heavily influenced, and so there's a lot of like, it's a lot more of fondling, a lot less of like oral sex, which is kind of interesting because you find that a lot of people, it happens, but not nearly as much as pornos would make you believe it happens, has been the general consensus I've been getting. Like, it's not a rare thing, but a lot of times people are kind of, in our society at least, are in a rush. Yeah. There's a lot of just like, get it on, get it done, get on with your day. Or get to bed, depending on what time of day it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, even TV shows are still perpetuate the, if it's shorter than X, then it's amount of time, then it's clearly bad sex, and it's... Dude, I cannot stand long, drawn-out sex.
Dude,
anymore.
Men are not built for that.
I don't have the hips or the knees or the patience for that. I know what gets me off, and I know what gets him off, and you know what? If it takes a minute or less, I don't fucking care. All I care is that we got there.
I never understood what the problem, like men are not physiologically built to go a long time. Men are genetically supposed to be one-pump chumps. I don't know how to say that. The idea is that you can screw and screw and screw some more, and every couple of minutes you're going to blow your load because the idea is that you're gonna have multiple shots to get the woman pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, barring modern society, that's the whole idea. That either you're gonna get lots of partners, you're going to inseminate lots of partners, or you're gonna inseminate the same partner multiple times, thus increasing the chances that you successfully complete, copulation and procreate.
Yeah.
There's no nice way of saying that. That's why men don't go as long as women. Because the whole point of a man's ejaculation, orgasm, is to knock a woman up. That's why it exists. There's no fun, side reason why it happens. It feels good because nature wants you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You've evolutionally developed, it feels good, so you want to do it. But that's because the only way you pass on your genes and thus, continue the cycle of life is by knocking a woman up. Like, barring all modern society and families and shit and government and all that fun crap. Woo! Scared the shit out of me. The hell is that?
That was my phone.
Is it that time already?
Somebody was asking if our aid had come in, and it still has not.
Nope, still broke.
Yep. I would say the time thing is a mixture of porn and the heavily romanticized sex. Not that sex can't be romantic, but that you're supposed to, there's supposed to be this long, drawn out foreplay of just you falling into each other, and most people don't have the time for that.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with.
Yeah.
What sort I want to use? Intimate touching? Fondling? Mm-hmm. I mean, I like squeezing soft parts of women as much as the next guy. But, I mean, theoretically everybody craves some amount of intimate contact. Whether it be with the same sex or different sex or a partner or whatever, everybody craves some amount. Some people more, some people less. Like, I can get away with very little intimate contact because, well, I'm legitimately a psychopath. But, I mean, there's a lot of people that, maybe that's all they need. Maybe sex isn't the thing. Maybe they just want to, for lack of a better word, snuggle. Mm-hmm. They just need the contact. It's the sex is a bonus. It's not the end-all, be-all. And I find that even seems to be some sort of evolutionary type of deal of the...
It helps create social relationships.
Yeah.
The, hugging, snuggling.
Yeah.
Not everything has to lead to sex. And there are plenty of asexual people who don't have sex because they have no want for it. And then there are the people who, are just with people they don't want to have sex with.
Yeah.
It's, just because you ticked off all these markers, sex does not have to be the end result.
Oh, exactly.
It can be, but that's only if all parties are, for it.
I mean,
this is a modern world. You can't get away with just jumping someone because you feel like it. They've got to feel like it too.
I'm in my head. I'm wondering. I'm like, okay, you're in a relationship where you both. It's not in the most literal sense technically rape because you're both in a compulsory relationship, but if let's say theoretical situation. I'm not saying this would ever happen, but say you're not feeling it, but your husband is. He just jumps you. At what point does it become rape?
There is such a thing as marital rape.
I know, but it's crazy because it's not something that comes up in discussion very often.
Yeah, it's not something that people talk about because there's still the assumption that they're married, they're supposed to be having sex with each other, but consent is still a thing.
Yeah.
Your partner is not an object, they're a person, and there are plenty of studies to show that, when you force yourself on someone, you are destroying them.
Yeah.
At both a physical and psychological level, and that's not really something you want to do in a relationship.
No, I understand completely.
I get why it was funny. Yes.
Because I just imagine, like, in a lot of relationships where it's more of like I don't mean like a legitimate forced rape type scenario, because that's obviously just disturbing and wrong. Like, I'm not saying, like, you know, in the sense of jumps, I don't mean like a forced situation. I mean like a begrudging situation. At like what point does it become uncomfortably?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a dark subject. Like, it's like, you know, how do you say, you know, what point, you know, it's funny in the sense of, like, you know, I'm imagining it in the comedic sense of, like, you know, the whole, like, you know, like sitcom trying to talk you into it, you're not feeling it, and then just jumps you kind of shit. Which, of course, ends up with the comedic, you know, frying pan to the head or a rolling pin to the stomach.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm in no way trying to endorse that rape is funny. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, you know. I just like imagining your husband like jumping you and just like backhand him. Like, not tonight, honey. Whatcha? Although I doubt that happens that often.
No, we do not have a comedically abusive relationship.
I bet you refusing sex, but that works too.
It happens occasionally. You know, either because something hurts too much, or he doesn't normally ask for it if I've been, like, vomiting a lot. That's not exactly sexy in our book.
He's like, I don't want to catch whatever the fuck you've got. You keep that to yourself, goddammit.
Considering he is very unhelpful if I'm vomiting, because if he sees vomit, he'll vomit, and well, I only want to clean up one set of vomit. I don't need to clean up his too.
I suddenly just picture that one scene from Family Guy where they all take Ipecac.
Oh god, no! Now I can't unsee it.
It's like, I feel like the fucking rhino today from that video. Just fucking two fingers in the air, fucking rising above, fucking liquid shit pouring out of my ass. The plane part, not so much, but everything else, totally. I laughed so hard when I saw that.
There is also a difference between not originally being in the mood and because, you know, of a bit of fooling around, you became in the mood, and just giving in and giving them sex. No matter how great of a relationship you have, you should probably not just give in and begrudgingly have sex. You're going to start having a negative association with what should be a positive thing.
No, I mean, I was, everything I've said was in the joking sense, like.
Oh yes, I was just clarifying to people that there's a difference between not starting out at the same spot and getting there together and just giving them sex to shut up. Or because they wouldn't stop pestering you.
My personal favorite one that I've seen with friends who are married is the someone's not feeling it, but snuggling's not off the table, or whatever you want to call it, you know, being close enough table, just no sex. And then somebody, you know, the person who was saying no gets in the mood or gets horny, and all of a sudden it's all bets are off. That's my favorite one by far. I'm not feeling it. It's not tonight. Okay, fine, whatever. Snuggle up. All of a sudden it just fucking, oh, here we go.
Sometimes all you need is a little bit of intimacy to get you there.
Yeah.
So that you both want the same thing, but other times it's, you know, all you're doing is poking them in the back with your dick. That's not gonna help you, dude.
In this case, it was a male buddy of mine. He wasn't feeling it one night. Just wasn't feeling it. He wasn't like. She was rubbing his back and his shoulders and whatever, and he was just like, whatever. She rubbed his leg with she put her leg over his and was like rubbing up against him. And he was just like, I was like freaking cock in like 10 seconds flat. I'm like, oh, dude, really? He's like, oh yeah, it was the weirdest thing. He's like, I was not in the mood, and all of a sudden she rubbed up against me, and I was just like, oh yeah, let's do this. And I'm like, wow, that's a change of fate. She was happy, I was happy, and my God, I slept like a baby that night. I'm like, oh God.
That is a bonus of sex. It can be a great stress reliever as long as you're not.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Really?
as long as there's not all this pressure of, oh, we got to do it in a certain amount of time.
It's organic.
You
Do
know.
it till you're done. If it's 30 seconds to 5 minutes of going at it, and then the rest of the time you're just kind of hanging out, doing whatever. Whatever you do before or after, it's your business, If that's the ritual and it works, whatever. Fuck it. Literally, fuck it.
It doesn't have to be the way it is in romance novels or pornos or what TV shows claim sex should be like. It has to work for you and whoever you're having sex with.
I mean,
that's all that matters.
What if it's, I mean, I've always wondered, what if the stress relief is it happens and then you're chilling out, you're laying in bed talking or whatever. I don't know.
Well, sometimes, post-sex cuddling, it can be the best thing ever, or, just, you're using the sex as a stress relief, and so that you can feel awesome the rest of the day doing shit.
The amount of oxytocin that is released in your brain when you complete the act is unbelievable.
I stumbled across something that I did not realize had to be said, but for the people out there, do not blow air into the vagina.
Oh my God, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, apparently, I realized I didn't learn a lot of this in school because I had awesome parents who taught me shit. Yeah. But I did not realize this was something that had to be said until I read an article about how, this is not common knowledge, and I'm like, really? And then I think back, most people don't understand what the hymen actually is. They think it's this thing that stretches across the canal, when it's really just this ring of,
flesh.
Yeah, and it sometimes ruptures. So, yeah, do not blow.
Now I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, do not blow into a vagina.
What, you mean you're not like a balloon? We can't inflate you?
No, not unless you want me to have an embolism, apparently.
I was worried you were going to say your husband tried this and it didn't work, and I'm like, oh God.
Now, there is a difference between in and on. Blowing on private parts can be very sexual. Just don't actually blow fucking into the canal. Don't think it's funny to, shove a bike pump in their pants. You're actually harming someone. And slapstick is funny, but not when it leads to fucking death.
I saw a Japanese porno where they tried that on a girl. They shoved a fucking bike pump up her ass. It's like, oh my God! That cannot be healthy. Thankfully, your intestines are actually pretty pliable, but it's not actually something you want to do, build pressure, air pressure in your intestines. I mean, a little bit ain't gonna hurt you. A couple PSIs isn't. Once in a blue, one time, I think is the word I want, is not probably going to cause any major serious damage. But this shit was I was looking at some of my coworkers as we were discussing this. They were showing us some of the stuff that's fresh coming out of Japan. And I'm like, oh my God, we are not going to do this, are we? And they're like, no, we weren't thinking about it. I'm like, let's not. This is horrifying. Okay, I get enemas. I do, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, fine. Whatever. I can dig it. But air? No. That's horrifying. We're going to kill someone. Mm-hmm. Just my aside. I have no idea what, medically will happen, but I just,
I imagine it's probably not
way too dangerous.
The best idea, especially since most people probably wouldn't know when to stop. I mean, I doubt you're going to make someone pop, but it can't be beneficial.
You make them pop, just not in, the balloon sense.
Yeah, I meant, in a cartoon.
Yeah. It's more like you rupture their large intestine, which causes sepsis, and then they die.
The body is a magical thing, but it's a magical thing that can only handle so much.
Consider that you eat food in 4 vertical feet. Mm-hmm. In vertical feet, I mean probably less, probably 2 or 3 vertical feet. It turns into solid waste, which I always think is amazing. I mean, yeah, there's basically hundreds of feet of intestine, and that's how it works, but it's you think about, we're basically biological machines. Mm-hmm. We eat food that we basically pull chemical energy out of, and how amazing that is, and like the shit we can get away with sexually that we're not supposed to be doing. It doesn't kill us. That would kill most animals.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll never forget the what was that one called? There was the first time they tried triple penetration. I was just like, oh god, I'm sorry. And the girl was loose, but I mean, damn. Three dicks in one hole.
Mm-hmm. That sounds more painful than fun.
Well, I mean, this was a girl that could take a full-grown man's fist in there, so it wasn't like, it wasn't like she wasn't pliable, but I was still just like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh.
Ow.
I mean, I've always been the vanilla lover. Yeah, I just like basic, regular sex. I'm not into it. Despite job description, everything, not into the crazy shit. I just like basic, regular crap. It's hard enough doing that. Fuck this, like, crazy ass motherfucking shit that some of our people do. I was thinking about that one video where that black guy has the girl up and he does a fucking like backflip with her on him and like lands. He like suplexes her or some shit onto a mattress and then like ends up with like he's holding her up, screwing her, and it ends up with him giving her oral sex when they land. And I'm just like, dude, that is some crazy shit, motherfucker. That actually takes some actual like athletic ability. And that, I mean, to me, that whole like the dudes that are like, big enough to pick a girl up and screw her at the same time, just like, holy shit, buddy. That's pretty epic. You can keep that shit up. I don't know. I mean, I'm impressed by all that athletic fucking shit. I'm just like, damn.
It takes a lot.
If those crazy girls are like super flexible, it's just like, holy shit. Guy's like a fucking whirly bird. I don't even know.
Weren't we saying goodnight to each other earlier?
At some point. Oh god. I suppose we have 2 hours now. That's probably enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think next week I'll probably talk about. I don't think I ever talked about Genmar or whatever. Tenchi.
You talked about it a tiny bit while you were watching it, but no, we haven't really talked about it since you finished it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. Because also by next week I should have Gunslinger Girl and Plasmatic Crisis finished.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna watch them today, but I was just so goddamn sick that I was like, I'll watch these some other day when I'm not like feeling like my insides are gonna come rolling out of me. Dude, that really sucked today. Screwed up my entire weekend.
Poor
I'm gonna have to spend like 5 to 7 hours at work tomorrow, basically fixing all the shit I was gonna do today before I woke up sick. Christ. At least I have Sunday off. That'll give me a chance to play catch up.
Thank you again for listening to episode 34 of the Super Happy Gamatron Party with Kiki and Bone. Farewell. Safe sex is the best sex.
Alright, well, I suppose we should call it.
Alright.
Night, Kiki.
Oh, bye, internet people.
Good night, internet. Night, John boy.
Good night.
Night.